Hey folks, Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin. This is the third part of my top 25 favorite tag teams ever list. Where so far I've gone through 25 to 14. And it's hard to tell if I'm going to end up just doing two more parts or if I'm going to end up stretching out to three more parts. Because I'm kind of covering these teams awfully quickly. I'm only going between 15 and 20 minutes. So let's just get right to it. If you watch the first two parts, you already know how this list works. My favorite tag teams, sure, there will be some that will be omitted from the AWA, from WCCW, from some areas of the NWA, from Canada and that kind of stuff. But I tried to cover all the teams in history that I've watched, from old school to new school, that I have really enjoyed. And some have been surprised by the placement. I mainly had people DM me. I haven't had too many comments. You can feel free to comment on this stuff. Just leave comments or tweet me. My Twitter handle will be in the description. But anyway, now here we go with this. And I do want to give a special mention to the fabulous Rougeau brothers. Jacques and Ramon were a great tag team. They were, to this day, a very, very underrated tag team. It was great when they were pushed as baby faces at first, and the crowd shit all over them. And the crowd thought, oh no, it's like, we don't buy it or whatever. And they were like, we love America, we love America. But then they kind of turned it around and decided to be full on dicks. And Jimmy Hart, being their manager at first, was really cool. That was some good stuff. That was some pretty good stuff. So an honorable mention is the fabulous Rougeau brothers, which were a tremendous tag team. And also the Quebecers. They were a very, very good team also. They didn't last as long. They weren't so good as the amazing French Canadians in WCW. Not that they weren't good wrestlers, but they weren't really booked all that well. But let's see. We are at number 13, the British Bulldogs. Now, your opinion of Dynamite Kid is a person aside, which apparently he was a shit individual. Apparently. I've obviously never met the guy, but just based on interviews that quite a few people have cut when asked about him, not exactly the nicest guy. Tremendous worker in the ring. Him and Bret Hart had some great matches in Stampede Wrestling. And Dynamite Kid and British Bulldog and Davey Boy Smith. Dynamite Kid and Davey Boy Smith were tremendous. Tremendous workers. It's a shame that Dynamite suffered such a horrific back injury, I believe in Japan. Otherwise, you have to wonder where this team could have gone. It stunted the rest of his career. I think by 1990-91, he was basically done in the ring. And if I'm right, Dynamite Kid is confined to a wheelchair, I believe, even, which is sad. However person he was aside, it's still sad that he was confined to a wheelchair. But their matches against the Hart Foundation, especially the Hart Foundation, those are the matches that stick out in my mind the most. The British Bulldogs were just tremendous workers. Absolutely tremendous workers. It's like I said, Dynamite Kid suffered that back injury, I believe, sometime in 86, because it was originally going to be the Hart Foundation versus the British Bulldogs in Mania 3. But Tito Santana and Dangerous Danny Davis were added to the match to take some of the workload off of Dynamite Kid because he was still dealing with that back injury, but still wanted to make his commitments. But just thinking about the precision that the Bulldogs had in the ring and the great power that they displayed. Dynamite was an absolute killer in the ring. Looking at how Dynamite acted in the ring, and then you see how Benoit was, you can see why he patterned himself after Dynamite. And it was like a clear-cut copy of him. And I'm not saying a copy in a bad way or a rip-off or anything, but he just clearly was influenced by Dynamite. And Davey Boy Smith is an athlete in the class all by himself. His son, of course, carrying on that tradition of being a great wrestler, I believe working in Japan and doing pretty well with what little bit I've seen of his career outside WWE. They really dropped the ball with him. I kind of get why they got rid of him, but they still dropped the ball with him. With the Bulldogs, though, their matches with the Hart Foundation and other matches that they had, that's why they're on here so high. They were such a great team. Number 13, or number 12 rather, because I mentioned a couple other teams, so I kind of got thrown up. But number 12, Edge and Christian. For the benefit of those with flash photography, the 5-second pose, the Kazoo's rule, streamers rule, their goofiness was just great. And their matches with the Hardys and the Dudleys and the TLC matches, and their entertainment just the pure entertainment they provided. In the short time they were only together as an actual team, I think for what, like 2-3 years? About 2.5 actually. Especially once the Brood got broken up. Because by I think the late summer, early fall of 2001, they were broken up. Christian had turned on Edge. And then they stopped pushing him as brothers when Christian came back in 2009. And they were just best friends. I don't know why they pushed him as brothers. We didn't believe it anyway. I mean, I guess they kind of could have been, I suppose, but it was obvious they were just friends. They shouldn't have pushed the whole brothers thing. But that being said, the, Concerto Masters, they were great heels. My God, they were great heels. They were entertaining, but they were great heels. The work that they could provide, the bumps they would take, the insane stuff they would do, in the TLC matches and otherwise, and the entertainment stuff they had with Commissioner Foley and Kurt Angle was just world class. It was great stuff. Edge and Christian, one of the best tag teams ever, simply because of the entertainment aspect. And in the short time they were together, they were just great. They were they were great. They were great. You really can't say enough good stuff about them. You just can't. The stuff that they did, well, okay, hokey and everything, was still fun. You could tell they were having fun with it, and that's why the audience was invested in it. It worked so well. Like I said, the TLC matches were just absolutely wonderful. Number 11, the Hardys. Oh, hello, Matt and Jeff. It's nice to see you again. And this is including their work in Impact Wrestling. I just want to say that. Even though, honest to God, I'm 50-50 on the broken gimmick. It's silly and it's ridiculous. Matt's totally invested in it. So is Jeff. So is Rebby. So is Senior Benjamin and Vanguard 1. The drone. I mean, pure silliness. But also their time before they went to Impact Wrestling, where they were part of the TLC matches, and then ladder matches. Their match with Edge and Christian at No Mercy 99, one of the standout tag team matches that you would see, at least for modern tag team wrestling. Great spots with the ladder. They would elevate it in the coming matches and in the coming years. They break up in 2002, then they would reunite for a bit in 2007, split their ways, sort of reunite in 2009 before Jeff went to Impact Wrestling. And just threw in, they're back in WWE now, and Jeff, unfortunately, as of, this show, is going to have shoulder surgery, and he could be out up to 6 months. Personally, I think he will probably be back by the Rumble. I would be very surprised if he wasn't. Or I'd be very surprised if he wasn't back by February and worked into maybe a program with Matt, or work a program where the Hardys become broken at Mania if they decide to still do that whole thing. If not, no big deal. I mean, I think the Hardys are over enough that it's not going to matter. But if you just look at the Hardys' body of work, I mean, okay. Are they as good as they were? No. They're moving very, very slow. Even in Impact Wrestling, before the broken gimmick, and in the broken gimmick, they really couldn't move. Matt can't kick very much, but that's going to happen. He can't kick very high, I mean. But that's going to happen after 20 plus years in the business. Kudos, these guys are still going. Longevity alone warrants that they go this high. And sorry, I was always more of a fan of the Hardys than I was of the Dudleys. Because the Hardys were better workers. The Hardys could work better with more teams. The Dudleys could work well with some teams. Hardys could work well with just about anybody. So now we go into the top 10 territory, where I'm going to do a couple more teams, and then I'm going to stop here for the evening. Which, by the way, guys, thanks for putting up with my voice as I struggle with some health issues, but I still want to crank out these shows for you. I'm trying to work on this stuff, so at times my voice will sound rough, but I try to present the best points I can, so thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Number 10, The Revival. Yes, okay, I recognize that they've only been together for a couple years, but when The Revival just suddenly showed up out of nowhere and beat Aiden English and Simon Gotch, the Vaudevillains, for the tag titles, and then held the tag titles and beat Enzo and Cass at TakeOver London, and then lost him to American Alpha at Takeover Dallas, and then won him back at Takeover the End, and then had that great program with DIY. Absolutely wonderful. The Revival, unfortunately, have had injuries on the main roster. They just, anytime they get some momentum, one of them gets injured. So hopefully that can stop when I believe it's Dawson comes back from injury. And I mean, hopefully, because they're such a great team. They remind me so much of Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. And I mean that with the utmost respect. They are a modern Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard without the drug issues. Sorry, Tully. I mean, I know he's clean now. It's just that was unfortunately Tully's undoing. Fortunately, he seems to be doing okay now. But Dash Wilder, Dash Dawson, Dash and Dawson, as you know, Baycast used to say, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson are great. They are just a spectacular tag team. I love their theme. I love their look. I love the old school stuff about it. I love the fact that they're such a great team. They understand ring psychology. You could have put them in Jim Crockett Promotions with the way they work, and they would have fit right in. You could have put them in Dallas with the way they fit, or with the way they work, and they would have fit right in. I'm serious. They would have fit in almost any promotion. It's just they work so well. They work so old school, but. And they're great. They're great heels with how they present their promos, but you can tell that they have fun with what they're doing. But they are such great heels and such great performers that it's hard to root. It's hard to root against them because you respect them so much, but you want to hate them because they're great heels. I just really can't sing the praises of the Revival enough. They are just an absolutely wonderful team. Love the Revival. Great, spectacular team. Easily in my top. I think I might end up having to do a top 15 this year, or maybe a top 5 tag teams of the year in WWE, and this will probably be. They will definitely be the top team. I mean, even though they haven't always been like healthy at the same time, they're still probably going to be on there. But anyway, the Revival just are tremendous. I mean, I think if they were my number 1 tag team last year, they were damn close. Because the Revival and DIY, 2 out 3 falls in NXT TakeOver Toronto was actually my favorite match of last year. And if you have not seen that, but you're familiar with them, we'll go and watch that damn match. I'll wait. See? Wasn't it great? What wasn't it a great match? Obviously, you wouldn't have paused the video and done that, but Revival and DIY had great matches, and that right there was one of them. The best. It was absolutely. It was just great. It was just great stuff. And now number 9, the Rock and Roll Express. Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson. Their matches with the Russians, with the Midnight Express, who do make an appearance later in this countdown. Just gonna spoil it right now. And the reason the Midnight Express make it there is because, well, the Midnight Express, Jim Cornette. I mean, it was a great pairing. Great stuff. The Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express had such great matches. They had such great matches against the Russians. Ricky Morton and Ric Flair having that great cage match on the Great American Bash Tour. Gibson and Morton always worked well together. The chemistry, the synergy that they had, the work that they still do even to this day. I mean, I don't know if they should be wrestling anymore, considering that they're getting old, and I don't want them to be seriously hurt in the ring. Their lives, their business. But watching the Rock and Roll Express wrestle in the 80s and even in the 90s, great stuff. You can't sing their praises enough, especially if you're an old school wrestling fan. I could watch Rock and Roll Express matches for a very long time. I could probably watch them for a week straight and not get bored. Like watch a few a day, like whatever's available on WWE Network, and not get bored. Because they would always manage to make stuff different. They could always do spots different. But they could always keep stuff where it's familiar yet different somehow. I mean, that seems a little weird to say. But, Morton and Gibson were just tremendous. And it was great to see them inducted in WWE Hall of Fame recently. Because they absolutely deserved it. And it was it was so wonderful to see Cornette induct them. No matter what any of the haters say, because people there are some that don't like Cornette, and I'm not calling them hate. I'm not calling everybody that doesn't like Cornette a hater. I'm talking everybody's like, oh, Cornette said he wouldn't go back to WWE, but he did, even though he was only there for the one appearance. But I guess that's just too much for some people, but whatever. Rock and Roll Espresso deserved to go into the Hall of Fame for their body of work, and they were just tremendous. So anyway, guys, my voice is kind of giving out here, so I'm going to stop this. I want to know so far, what do you think of this countdown? Do you think it's a good countdown? Are there other countdowns that you would like to see me do? Now, keep in mind, I want you to take a look through my countdowns playlist and see stuff that I'm already doing. If there is stuff you would like to see me do, wrestling related, or movie related, or music related, you can. You can suggest in the comments. You can suggest it on Twitter to me. If you follow me and I follow you, then DM me. I probably can see it a lot better there. Otherwise, you can tweet me, and if I'm near a piece of paper, I will do that. I will, I can like the tweet, but I might forget to check it later, so I'll write it down. But anyway, like, share, comment, and subscribe. My Twitter link. Go ahead and check it in the description. It's been Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I am John Ritlin, and I will see you soon.